Good afternoon, everyone. Well, at least it was a good afternoon up until the second half started. Newcastle bounced back with a 5-0 defeat with a lovely 2-1 defeat away at Watford. What a horrendous second half that was. Before we get into it, I'd just like to quickly mention the passing of Ashington-born and bred footballing legend Jack Charlton, who sadly passed away. 1966 England World Cup hero, Leeds United legend, and former Newcastle United manager as well. So rest in peace, Jackie. But I suppose we should come on and talk to Mr. Kyle Thompson, who's making his fan reaction show debut. How are you, Kyle?
Not very good, mate. That was a shower shit the day. It was a game of two halves. We looked fairly comfortable in the first half, and then we'll throw it all away, man. To throw it away like that, just absolute disgrace. We hadn't conceded a penalty all season in the Premier League, and then we'll concede two like that. I mean, I'm sure the lads and lasses that join me on the live stream here will vent their frustrations, but that just wasn't good enough today from back to front. We could have been 2 or 3 up at half time, and we just didn't take what chances in the first half, and then we'll give away how many chances in the second. Tell you what, if it weren't for Jamal Lascelles today, we would have lost this by maybe even 3 or 4. He was the only good defender that played today. The rest were just making errors left, right, and centre. The rest looked very clumsy. But I will, before I end me first bit, condolences to the family of Jack Charlton as well. And even if we'd have won, it's a sad day for football because he was a true legend of the game. And yeah, condolences to him and his family.
Absolutely. If you want to join us on the fan reaction show today, then click the link in the live chat and either or in the description as well. And you can be angry, be sad, be happy if you are looking forward to Aston Villa's now inevitable demise from the Premier League. Callum Allen is vexed, I can see in the comments below. So whatever your emotions, feel free, click the link as Callum Taylor and Connor have done already. We'll come to you, gents, soon. Kyle,
yes.
The lineup. I was reasonably happy in the main, but what has Matty Longstaff got to do to get on the pitch?
Sign a new contract by the looks of things, mate. They're holding him to ransom. I mean, you've got 2 midfielders sitting on the bench. I mean, one's shit, so you don't play him in Bentaleb, but it just doesn't work. Shea does not work as a midfielder. He's got a good range of passing and things like that, but he doesn't track runs very well. And I think Will Hughes, even in that second half, and Decore, when they started pushing forward and pushing them a little bit and getting them under pressure, they just had the way with them in midfield. And I think Bruce made the change to bring Bentaleb on to try and cope with that. And even then, that didn't work because as soon as he came on, we'll give away a stupid penalty. Just to answer the question, what I think of him in midfield, just not good enough because he doesn't work hard enough for me in midfield. Whereas with Matty, you get a good industrious midfielder. Even if he does play bad, you're going to get that work rate, and he'll cover runs, and he'll track the running in midfield, which Watford were pretty good with today, to be fair, in the second half in particular. But to answer your question, for Matty to start games, he needs to sign a below par contract, which is ridiculous. I mean, we'll probably have plenty of time to talk about that, but yeah, it just to get a game, he's going to have to sign a contract. Simple as that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's no doubt that Matty will get a mention or two in our post-match videos. Obviously, we've got scoring the players coming up after this. Lee is live now on NFTV Extra doing Kyle's normal job of quick thoughts.
Indeed.
But there's Lee's match reaction there. And yeah, Matty Longstaff is bound to get a mention or two. I'm just utterly perplexed, and Fabian Schär, that experiment just doesn't work for me. Yeah, crazy. But hey ho, right, let's get into it. We're going to welcome on to the fan reaction now, Connor. Connor, good afternoon. You're on NFTV. Welcome. What did you make of that display out there today?
Frustrating. I think if I'd have continued the way we played in the first half, would have breezed the game quite easily. But for some reason, this happens all the time. We'll have one good half and then one really poor half. I just don't get what's said at half time to throw away a game like that.
Yeah, Kyle kind of got a bit of a point there. First half, all was going swimmingly, wasn't it?
It was. We're playing really well. I mean, if Maximin, with a chance he had, if he'd have just lifted the ball over the keeper, it would have been 2-0. But it's always easy to say that in hindsight, do you know what I mean? So, for to just throw away a game so bloody poorly like that. I mean, Fernandez tried his best to give them the game as well. Of two pathetic passes to their centre forward, and I'm just so deflated. I'm trying to like describe things as best as I can, but I'm just so down off this performance because the 3 points was there. Watford weren't playing well at all, and Nigel Pearson makes a change at half time to push a little bit more and get like try and be a bit more industrious to win the ball in midfield, and we just didn't have an answer for it, and the hammered win that second half, and we just didn't go up a level, whereas Watford did, and we couldn't match them. If it wasn't penalties, it would have been something else. Watford won the game on the basis of that second half because we were shocking in that second half, like really bad.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no disputing that. Connor, Watford went into today's game unchanged. Steve Bruce obviously had to make changes following Man City. Were you happy with the lineup that Bruce put out this afternoon?
Yeah, I was actually quite happy. I think obviously the big point was having Saint-Maximin and Almiron back, but obviously that being said, I would have to say today as well to give credit to Watford because I don't really think they give Saint-Maximin a lot. I think I remember probably one cross he managed to get in and on obviously the one chance he had through on goal. But I think other than that, they've probably marshalled him quite well, which we've not really seen from a lot of teams this season. So I probably would give them credit for that, to be fair, because like I say, the crossing his chance on goal was the only things I could really remember him getting in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, ASM looked bright early on, didn't he? He had that wonderful cross that he put in after about 10 minutes that someone like Alan Shearer would have been drooling over getting on the end of.
Ironically, he was the closest to the ball.
Surprised
Just near centre forward was.
Well, he was, yeah. He was. That's very true. One chance apiece, really, in the opening 15 minutes. Connor, was it a silly question because I know what the answer is going to be, but was it nice to know that ASM was back and know we have a guaranteed outlet and a way to get up the pitch, unlike when he was either A, unfit, or B, rested against Manchester City?
Yeah, I think it's always obviously nice to have obviously Saint-Maximin in the team. There's no doubt that obviously he can take us up the pitch quite easily and obviously get us well on the counter attack. So we definitely missed him against Man City. Obviously, would he have been able to do much with the way we played? Probably not. But even just having him there to bring the ball forward and at least try and create something for helps. But yeah, today you'd probably be a bit frustrated because, like I say, he struggled to get in the game, apart from a couple of moments here or there. But it's nice to have him back, and obviously, hopefully, in the next game we can do something. It all just depends on Spurs because I think Spurs are probably quite similar to us. They can have games where they struggle and they don't look very good at all, and then they can have games where they look really good and play quite well, which obviously we've seen against Bournemouth when they struggled and didn't even have a shot on target, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs is a funny game, like you say, because we've got a cracking record at home to Spurs. Jose Mourinho's never won a competitive game at St James's Park. Obviously, today we have a horrendous record at Watford as well. That's no win at Vicarage Road in 10 attempts now, even though today probably really should have been 3 points. How do you see Wednesday going, Connor? Have you got a bit of a prediction for us? Do you think we'll finally bounce back and get some points on the board against Spurs?
Has he went away, or is he just lagging, or what's going
Gone.
on?
He's
Gone.
so disconsolate. He's so disconsolate. He can't even bring himself to think about Wednesday night at Spurs.
I don't think he's
no one
internet
can
can take
blame
it
him.
either.
No one can blame him. No. Speaking of which, I've got my super fast, super duper new router today. So
Don't brag
my
about
problems
internet,
from
mate.
last
Mine's
Wednesday
shit.
night have all disappeared. Well, that's only 29 for you. But hey ho, let's move on. And we'll welcome on now. Let's have a look. We've got Adam waiting. We've got James waiting. We've got Daniel waiting.
Connor's came back.
So let's. Connor's come back. We'll bring him on a little bit later on if his broadband can take it. Let's welcome on Callum now to NFTV. Hello again, Callum.
Hello.
What did you make of that horrendous second half performance today?
First half, pretty good. Second half, boring.
Boring to say the least. I'd go a bit stronger than boring if I was you. But let's try and stick with some positives in the short term. Dwight Gayle now 3 goals in 5 games. He's putting together a bit of a nice run of form, isn't he, Callum?
He did pretty well, I thought. I thought it's sorry my sentence. He's doing good form. At least he's scored more goals now this season. I'm happy with him.
Kyle, are you happy with him? I know how much you love Dwight Gayle.
To be fair, since that miss against Man City, ever since the quick thoughts on the second channel, which I don't advise you watch because it makes me look a total hypocrite. But ever since then, he's really came to promise, and he's actually converted every good chance he's had since then. So I can only give credit where credit is due. He's shown the Dwight Gayle that we actually miss in the Championship, where he's just shown that poacher's instinct, where he's in the right place at the right time. And with the front three that we've got the front two and Miggy and Saint-Maximin, the lad is going to get chances. And for the most part of the season, he's been missing these chances. But it's nice to see him start converting them and start actually making some of the chances that he's getting. So it's nice to see Dwight Gayle back into the swing of things. I still think, and I still stand by what I've said, that I think he will be away at the end of the season. But at least if he does leave, it is going to be on good terms, on a Dwight Gayle that we're more fond of, not a one that misses sitters and is in and out of the team. But yeah, for me, for now, for the remaining 2-3 games, I think Dwight Gayle is probably the man to lead the line for me, for sure.
Callum, do you agree with that? Would you say Gale's the first choice striker now until the end of the season?
I totally agree. He's done well till he's back. As long as he keeps it up.
Yeah, fingers crossed he does keep it up. Callum, final question for you. Tottenham Wednesday. How do you think we're going to get on?
Well, I know Spurs are struggling still. I thought Harry Kane was going to score more goals, to be honest. But I could say a draw 1-1 or maybe 2-1 to Newcastle. That's my guessing.
I actually don't disagree with you there. I know it's a bit early to be getting back to positives, but I don't think you'll be far with that one. Callum, thank you very much for coming back on, and we'll no doubt see you next time. That was Callum there on the Fan Reaction Show. Kyle, another kind of brief positive that you did actually touch upon earlier was Jamal Lascelles, his return.
Yeah.
He made one fantastic clearance off the line early doors in the game. How impressed were you with his performance today?
I was really impressed. I spoke in the preview yesterday that he would potentially struggle with Troy Deeney, and to be honest, mate, I don't think he did. I know Troy Deeney scored 2 goals, but they were both penalties, and I think Lascelles really coped well with him today. If it weren't for Lascelles, I think we would have conceded 4, maybe even more today. I thought Lascelles really showed how important he is, Sam. Just his ability to lead a back line. I mean, it was going kind of viral on NUFC Twitter that he shouted at Danny Rose to clear the ball when he was pissing about with it in the first half. And we've just missed his organisation. I've stood by this all season. It's one thing I'm not a hypocrite on, but he's one most important defender, bar none, because he can link up with every other centre back that we have quite comfortably, and he leads that defence and he leads that team, and he's so important as a defence. I know we've got Fabian Schär and Lejeune, who are better ball playing defenders, but for me, Lascelles is definitely the most important defender we have, and I think as we've argued in the past, Sam, he's probably best with Kieran Clark, but he's not fully fit at the minute through injury, but. Yeah, Lascelles was phenomenal today. I really think that.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely correct in saying that Lascelles is best off with Florian Lejeune at centre-back. Moving on. Right, let's get another guest on. Let's welcome Adam on to the fan reaction show. Good afternoon, Adam.
Afternoon again, gents. How are you?
Yeah, I'd be a lot better if I hadn't witnessed that second half. Let's briefly just continue on the trend with Jamal Lascelles. What did you make of his captain's performance today?
Yeah, it's what he's done since he ever had that rant. Was it against Southampton? Wasn't it? He just sort of stood up and taken charge and taken ownership of that sort of role. Like I said, I think you're right. I think he does suit better with the Lejeune or Shah at the back overall, and he does command that defence very well, and he's a leader. And it shows. It showed massively. And like I said, I think that massive thing. It doesn't matter. Danny Rose, England international, previous. He's still willing to, speak up and say, "Oi, do your job," or "Oi, do this." Whereas I imagine that was probably one thing we were lacking against Man City was no one was willing to speak up and have a go. And I think, Jamal certainly does that. He doesn't care what anyone thinks when he has a go at them because he's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely. There's no room for egos when Jamal Lascelles is around, that's for sure. Let's just touch upon the goal again for Newcastle and Dwight Gayle. I thought it was a really nice passage of play. Some really nice build-up, a nice ball out wide from Fernandez to Manquillo, who then touches it onto ASM. Shelvey with a nice crossfield ball. Ritchie plays it in, and then it goes out for the corner, which Ritchie then delivers. Fernandez flicks it on, and Dwight Gale's there to poke it home. Adam, we've played some nice stuff in the first half, which makes the second half all the more baffling. What did you make of Newcastle's build-up play in the first half? Because there was definitely some positive.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was surprised. I'll be honest. I was expecting a loss today. I think, as I said the other week, I'm only expecting 2 points from now until the end of the season. I think one will be against Tottenham and one will be against Brighton. I think that's where the 2 points will come from. So I was expecting a loss today, which is a bad thing as a Newcastle fan to think. But I just thought Watford have got that something to fight for, and that's what would have been. I think that was the thing in the end. But it was really positive. A lot of the first half, really, really positive. And it makes you wonder where has it been like in previous games when we've needed it. But I think again, I think Watford dealt with Saint-Maximin really well. They didn't throw as many bodies at him. I think they were clever with the bodies they did throw at him. They kind of force Almiron deep, and when Almiron's deep, he can't really use his pace to be utilised in the attacking play. But I thought Shelvey had a very good game. Although he got slated last week, didn't he? So he was bound to. It's. I just want to. I want to see more of that. But again, we don't know what the plan is for next season. Because like we say, we'll carry on playing Gayle up front. And I think you're right. I think he will be out the door. And I think at the moment he is showcasing his goal scoring talents for other clubs rather than Newcastle. Because I think they will cash in on him just purely because of the age. That he is at now and everything else. But no, it's just a shame how it almost imploded towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. A possible turning point in the game came after 34 minutes, Kyle. ASM is through one-on-one with Ben Foster to beat. All he had to do was chip it over him, and then it's 2-0, arguably game over. But Foster saves. It was, again, nice build-up play from Newcastle. But should ASM have buried it and put the game to bed in the first half?
He probably should have put that one away. I think Maximin will know that, but it's good. It's a great save by Ben Foster. He opens his body up well, as he always has done. He's been phenomenal for Watford, Ben Foster. Probably one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the league for the last 10 years. I've always rated Ben Foster, but it's a good save. I mean, as says, he opens up his body well, but you just, in hindsight, you look at it and think maybe he should have dinked it over. You just needed to lift it. If he had lifted it even slightly, that would have been in the back of the net. But it's a different game if that ball goes in, because we would have we're 2-0 up. We're fairly comfortable up until the penalty was given. So I think it would have been a long way back for Watford if we had managed to put that away. But we didn't take a chance and we basically gave Watford the 3 points in the second half. So in hindsight, it's easy to say that you should have put it in the net, but Yeah, it's a disappointing one. It's hard. It's a hard one to bear.
It's something he needs to add to his game, isn't it? Is that final, finish and I remember the one that he chased down, against Southampton. Again, it was fantastic, and it was again a good finish. But his finishes are very scrappy, I find, when they are there, and even with his, like, again, one of the things for me is that initial first touch. Sometimes, just we know he's got that sort of boost and acceleration. I think sometimes he needs to give himself some more credit and put the ball where he really, really wants it, to get that burst away from players and be able to beat the players. But it will depend. Again, obviously, I think, and this is probably, I don't know who this goes credit to in terms of, is it Bruce or the coaching team, but I feel he's come a long way in this season, from the raw player that he was now, from then to now. And again, I still think there's more to come. And I think it'll be a struggle to keep hold of him if anyone wants to take a chance on him. And I think there will be clubs who will look at that and think, be monitoring the situation, especially with obviously the club at the moment.
Yeah, no doubt it'll be a summer full of rumours swirling around ASM. Hopefully we can do enough to keep hold of him. So we're going at half time, deservedly ahead. The one minor point from the first half I would put to you, that Lascelles aside, Adam, I thought the defence looked a bit ropey in the first half, and the warning signs were there. Obviously, we know what happened in the second half. The defence was nigh on terrible. But there was the warning signs there, Jamal Lascelles aside. What did you make of Federico Fernandez today?
Yeah, just as you were saying that, the first one that popped into my head was Fernandez having a bad game. I think, like I say, he's not quite the ball playing centre back like Lejeune and Shara, and I think that complements Jamal very well. He is a little bit of a no nonsense sort of player, but unfortunately, there was times where perhaps we needed him to bring the ball down and play it, into midfield, into Shelvey, or look for Richie or on the wide side. But I don't think he had a very good game. I think, I don't know whether it's the back-to-back games, because he was looking fairly solid. I just wonder if he's played too many now back-to-back, and perhaps they need to go with Shah, or I guess they haven't really got many options with Kieran Clark out now as well. Manquillo again was all right, and then he got moved to the left-hand side, and obviously I think that really showed. And I think Watford did target that left-hand side quite a bit. It's a shame with Richie again. Richie has always got it always feels like Richie's got the best intentions, but sometimes he just lashes at things, and that obviously, now it's twice where that sort of happened. So again, you don't want to take away that effort and energy from him, but it's now to the point where it becomes a bit of a liability when he's not when he's doing it. Danny Rose was. I'm a bit mixed about Danny Rose. Sometimes I think he's a great left back. Sometimes I don't. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know whether it's just a lack of game time previously, and he's getting the stride than not. But I think he will be a purchase if Bruce has his way in the summer. But I'm not. I still prefer Williams. I still think Dummett does a good job as well, or did prior to injury. We'll have to see how he returns from that. But yeah, it's we'll just have to see what they do for the next game. They're going to have a shake up. They're obviously going to have a point to prove against Tottenham, and hopefully they'll get something more than what we think they might get.
Quick prediction off you then before I let you go for Wednesday night. Spurs at home. How do you think it's going to go down?
I think it's going to be 1-1. I don't think Jose is going to break his curse that he has up at St James's, and I think Tottenham are a very mixed bag at the moment, and I saw them play against Bournemouth, and they were just nothing to be worried about. And I think Mourinho is obviously trying to put his touch on Tottenham, and they're not really getting it at the moment. So I think we'll probably score first, and they'll probably get something as a consolation once, that sort of thing. If I had to sort of put me money where my mouth is, but I like I say, I think it's a point Tottenham, point against Brighton, and then I think we'll lose to Liverpool, unfortunately. But I think, as like I say, for me, as long as we learn something from the next 3 games, I think that's more important going into next season.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, thank you very much for coming on again, and we'll no doubt see you on NFTV again soon. That was Adam there, who's predicting a 1-1 draw on Wednesday night against Tottenham. Kyle, what did you make of the Cher and Shelvey partnership in the centre of the park today?
I think when they had no pressure on them, they played the ball nicely. But as soon as they start to get closed down by Decore and Will Hughes, they really struggled. And by really struggled, they weren't in the game at all. Constantly pressured, and they just didn't look on it for me. And then defensively, we just lacked. I mean, I've seen a couple of comments in the chat. That's what I've been looking at mainly while Adam was speaking, and most are screaming for Isaac Hayden. We missed him so much today. He just has that calmness and that defensive toughness that you need in games like that where you're going to be up against it in parts of the game. And I think had we had Hayden in the midfield today instead of maybe Shea, I think it would have been at least a point today. I think Hayden's that key to it, and we've argued that he's probably player of the season on this channel. So for me, we missed that. But to answer your question, Shea and Shelvey, the passing range is good, but defensively, I just don't think they've got that chemistry at all. They never look like they played in midfield together, and that's probably accurate because I think they played together in the midfield, Man City. I think Shelvey's played further forward, so it looked like the first time, and it probably was.
Yeah. Yeah, Shelvey was in the number 10 role. Obviously, it was Bent 11 Shea against Manchester City, something which I never wanted to see ever again. I've got to be honest, I did not like Shelvey and Shah in midfield together at all today. I can't even share in midfield when Matty Longstaff sat on the bench. I'm still scratching my head. I'm hoping that, one of the good journos out there, we know there are quite a few covering Newcastle United. The question's going to be put to Steve Bruce just on the whereabouts of Matty Longstaff today, because I just can't get my head around why he's not on the pitch. And the longer it goes on, I said it on the preview.
Big bad Bentaleb.
Yeah, and I never wanted to see him in a Newcastle shirt again, and yet 3 days later, alas, there we are. But hey ho, what can you do? Where's Matty? But our next guest on the Fan Reaction show, and then after this next one, we will welcome Lawrence, then Proudlock. But this next young man was quite vocal in his dismay on Fabian Schär last time out, calling him a disgrace to the shirt. So, James, was he a disgrace to the shirt today, or has he improved?
No, same performance as Wednesday. He was a disgrace to the shirt again. Not just him, Richie and Manquillo. So we're going to get on to them first. Right. First of all, Richie, there's not that much contact with the first penalty, but by doing that, you are giving the referee a decision to make by doing that. And if you're giving the referee a decision to make, he's going to give a penalty, really, isn't he? So obviously, they didn't look at VAR for that, and they gave the penalty in that. The second one, what is Javier Manquillo doing? I mean, fair enough, it was Bruce that made the change of took Brunkraft on for Rose and that. Why didn't you take Manquillo off? Manquillo was on a yellow card, Rose wasn't, and Manquillo had made dozens of fouls in the game and was in serious danger of getting a red card. So that really baffled us, to be honest. Then him putting Manquillo to left back has caused them and put them in that situation to give away a penalty. So we've got to give the blame a lot to Bruce, but also to Manquillo for giving away two stupid pens. I mean, the first half, we took the lead. Good goal by Gayle, good flick on by Fernandez. And we actually looked comfortable after it being a pretty even start, to be honest. But second half performance was just unacceptable. And yeah, it looked like we're on the beach in the second half for sure.
I actually thought Richie was having a decent game up until he gave away the penalty, Kyle. What did you make of Matt Ritchie today?
How did I I usually rave about Matt Ritchie, but today and against Man City, I just don't think he's been up to it, to be honest. I think he looked way off the pace. I think there was a ball that went into him from Shelvey in the first half, and he had like loads of time to control it and get into the box, and he just kind of stopped, and it was far too slow from him at times of getting the ball forward. It doesn't help every 10 minutes Bruce was changing his position, because whenever Maximin was getting tackled, he was changing him over to the other side, which is bizarre to me. But Ritchie, the penalty was just very rash. The ball was already away from him, and he still lunged in, and he's like pleading with the referee. No, but it's definitely a penalty. But I think the penalty, it shouldn't have even got to there, because Feddy got absolutely done. Rose was out of position, and Ritchie's trying to get across to save the situation, and he catches can't remember the lads. Formiga, I think he's called. I think he catches him, and obviously Gini slots away the penalty. But I thought Ritchie was just a steady Eddie today. He ran and tried his best, but sometimes what Ritchie has them games where, in terms of like a major contribution, he just kind of fades away, but the hard work always makes up for it. But yeah, he's been pretty average since he scored that goal versus Sheffield United. To be honest, I don't think he was very much on it.
No, I thought Richie's passing was and his delivery was spot on up until the penalty, and then it just all went to shit. But hey ho, James, let me know in your comments actually what you think of Matt Ritchie's performance. Who's right? James, should Dubravka have done better with the penalties, or were they just too powerful? And even if he'd have stood there, he wouldn't have saved it.
Yeah, that's another thing I agree with you on. Totally. I was going to get onto that. Yeah, shocking for me really. He's on probably in excess of 40 grand a week, and the penalties were that close to him, and he can't be bothered to get his hands, at least try and get his hands to it, get his palms to it as well.
James, come on. They were hit like 90 mile an hour, man. Flipping hell. No, like I get it, follow the ball, but no. He's getting paid a lot of money, but Dubravka isn't at fault for these penalties, mate. No way. I'm not having that. Dini hit them with a lot of power, and they're very hard to save, especially in big game situations like that. Dubravka gets no fault for me. If you're going to blame anybody for the penalty, blame Manquillo for being a dickhead for the second one, and blame Matt Ritchie for being a dickhead for the first one. But don't blame Dubravka. Sorry, like, no way.
I mean, fair enough. I respect Carl's opinion, but I massively disagree with him on that. I think, yes, they were powerful. I get his point there. They were powerful, but it's like he didn't even attempt to, like, you know, get a hand to it. Like, at least try.
If the ball had hit Dubravka, we went in the net with the ball. The power the power Dini hit the ball. He's not saving it, man. No, he's not saving either penalty. I'm sorry, like it would have took him into the goal behind the stand.
I think we can all agree on though. Dubravka is not our best keeper at saving penalties. I think we can all agree on that
though. I don't think either of them are particularly bad. I mean, the
Darlow
last time we played at Watford, Dubravka saved a Dini penalty.
Yeah, but I still don't think he's our best guy for like saving penalties and that. I still think Darlow and Elliott, even though he's leaving or he's left now, we're up there with him. They saved dozens of penalties. I can't remember the last time Dubravka saved a penalty. I think it might have been like last year or something against.
It was against Watford against Dini, ironically.
Yeah. I just told you, and Troy Dini.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think he could have saved that.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree. I think me and Kyle think you're both being a bit harsh on Dubravka. Final one for you, James. Wednesday night Spurs. What's going to happen?
Well, again, obviously we're going to be. We've got nothing to play for, obviously. But the thing that I don't want to happen here is obviously the special guys coming back to St James's Park, and we just don't. Come on, we can't have him winning here. I mean, he's won once in the cup, but we can't like let him break that hoodoo for the first time and that. But I am worried with us not. We've pretty much been on the beach and that. I'm not confident. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not that confident for Wednesday. Possibly a draw. I can't see us beating them, to be honest, even though they have been pretty poor in the last few games. Like, they probably deserve to get beat off Bournemouth. I thought that the Bournemouth goal was really harsh, to be honest with you. And also in the Sheffield United game, that was poor from them as well. So if they come into the game with like the same level of performance that they did in the Sheffield United and Bournemouth games, then, and if we're at a decent level, then yeah, I'd give them a chance. But I don't know. I think it's because it's Newcastle. They'll probably raise their game, and Mourinho will be desperate to get his first win. I'm not going to predict a defeat for us because I'm not like that. But I probably agree with the last guy that come on. 1-1 draw probably would be my prediction if I was pushed.
He's not like that, but Dubravka should have saved 2 absolute rockets of penalties. James, thank you very much for coming on with us again today, and we'll no doubt speak to you again after Spurs Wednesday night. Cheers, mate.
Bye, James.
I think I heard the police sirens in the background there coming for James after them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's what this show is all about. Click the link in the description.
No matter how wrong you are, you're entitled to opinion.
Yeah, get your opinion into us. Come and tell me and Kyle how wrong we are. I can see Mr. Ford in the background there waiting to come on. We will come on to him shortly after we hear from... Let's get Lawrence on first. Lawrence,
hey
good afternoon.
Oh.
Hey.
Lawrence, how are you feeling about that second half display?
Very, very annoyed. Conceded a couple of penalties. I mean, especially the second one. What is Manquillo doing? He's been good this season, but what is he doing? And, there was just 2 good penalties from Dini. Like, you cannot fault Dubravka one bit for that.
No, I would probably agree with you there. Kyle, that was a bit of the old Manquillo that we saw today that, got laughed out of Sunderland and got abandoned by Liverpool. Yeah, a bit worrying after he's just signed a 4-year deal. Obviously, everyone's allowed a poor game every now and again, but there's no getting away from the fact Manquillo was poor in that second half.
He wasn't just poor, mate. He was diabolical, to be honest. It wasn't like I can just like sense Paul just returning to the rage of Manquillo and wanting him out the door. But he was shocking, and the way Sarr just turned him so easily. Like, he's meant to be an experienced fullback, and don't get us wrong. I'm really keen. I think Manquillo's had a really good season, but the past couple of games when he's been so error prone, it's unbelievable. And as soon as you put him on that left side, I mean, apparently he's competent on both sides. I completely disagree. I think on the left, he's just so suspect in that position. It's unbelievable. So I think he needs to remain as a right back and go for it. But Common says he was exhausted. Mate, regardless, it's basic defending. How he got turned, he got too tight to him. He got turned, and he just fouls him, and he brings him to the deck. I don't care how tight you are. That's basic defending. You stand off him, and then you go from there and stand in front of Sarr, because that's what he was looking for. He was looking for little fouls like our game, and you give him with what he did with the foul, he gave him exactly what he wanted. So for me, Manquillo had a bit of a shocker today.
Yeah, no denying that. Lawrence, what did you make of the substitutions that Steve Bruce made? Again, obviously too late. Bruce's substitutions always are. But what did you make of the changes he made?
Well, I don't get... Well, for me, firstly, Matty should be coming on instead of Bentaleb. I mean, I'd have started Matty in the midfield rather than Fabian Schär. Who else did he bring on? Lazaro was too late. I think Dwight Gayle. I didn't agree with Dwight Gayle coming off either. I think he kind of only got the junk minutes, as I'll call them, on Wednesday night. Well, it was game over, so I'll call them the junk minutes. And got himself a goal, unless maybe he's wanting to save him to play a full 90 on Wednesday, because he's got to start him against Spurs after getting a goal today. Trying to think who else. Joe
Linton was the first sub that he came on for Matt Ritchie, which was, I found a bit strange making that straight swap. when Watford were just absolutely dominating and something needed to be shaken up. And I don't know, that I just didn't think that was the change to make at that time of the game. What do you think?
Well, I can understand the change, bit extra energy. Maybe it's because Matt Ritchie played the full 90 on Wednesday night. But Jolinton, I wouldn't say he had a good or bad game. As for Ritchie, I suppose, it was a penalty, what you considered, but I kind of get, what happens. But Jolinton, not really much difference there. Although, I mean, there is worse players to bring on, to be fair.
Yeah, I suppose so. A £40 million substitute, nonetheless. Can we bounce back on Wednesday night, Lawrence?
Absolutely. I do feel that if Mourinho doesn't get a league win on Wednesday when there's no fans there, because usually the crowd will play a part when we've got a result against one of his teams. I feel like if he kind of get a result Wednesday, then I don't think then it's hard to see him ever doing it. But you know what? I think we could. Spurs in the last couple of away games have played, embarrassed off Sheffield United, and then you could say they were lucky to get a point against Bournemouth. And hopefully, they'll get tied out from Derby.
Yeah, big game tomorrow, North London Derby. We shall see on Wednesday how Newcastle fare against Spurs. Lawrence, thank you very much for coming back on with us, and we'll no doubt see you Wednesday. Kyle,
Yes.
I want to return our attention now to the Matty Longstaff situation. And what better man to bring in with me and thee now than Mr. Clinton Ford. Fordy, the floor is yours. What went wrong today?
Where do I start, man? I don't think you'll give me enough time to go through it all, bruv. I just think...
No, we've got 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, then 20 minutes, here we go. Right, so from the get-go, in Chair, or Charles, however you pronounce his bloody name, in the centre midfield, sorry, it doesn't work for me. It does not work for me. What has Matty Longstaff got to do to get a start around here? And I know we're going to go on to it in a bit, but he's a model, bro. He's not a footballer. He's the Fabian Schär that we had last season. Where has he gone? Because I can't see him. It's like we've got two different players altogether. And then the positions, I said this last time when I was on there, why are we playing people in positions that they don't deserve to be in or shouldn't be in? Like Manquillo is not a left back. He can barely play right back. You've got Danny Rose, who's an England international, was a former international, playing okay. Yeah, he had a few scary moments, but at the same time, you had him doing okay. Why take him off? He didn't look injured. He wasn't off the boil. He was doing the job. And then you bring him off and you put Manquillo in instantly. Pretty much instantly, we give away a penalty. Ritchie had an absolute shocker, had a mare. I'm sorry, got to say that. And I usually look up to him and say he's the leader or one of the leaders in our team. He had a mare today as well. Bringing Dwight Gayle off, who scored. Why are you bringing our one of our biggest attacking threats off? I don't know. And that's it. And then the whole flipping Bruce Brigade jumping on him and saying, oh yeah, he's got more points than Rafa did last season. Shut up, bro. I don't want to hear from these commentators no more. They're not watching us. They're only watching us when we're on TV. That's not good enough. We're watching us all the time. When we're playing shit at the first half of the season, we're watching us then. Bruce didn't have a clue. Then we get a good run of points together and all the rest of it. Oh yeah, Bruce is the best thing since sliced bread. Rafa who? Shut up. Shut up. We know our team. Like, pay us some respect. You know what I mean? Stop getting up Bruce's ass and the rest of it because it's going to his head. He's talking about it's not a myth that we've gone back since Mike Ashley's been here. Are you mad? We're qualifying for Europe. Now 12th place is a trophy for us. What the hell's going on? So I could go on for ages, but yeah, crack on, bro.
Yeah, if 12th place was a trophy, if we'd have held on, we'd have gone up to 11th today before the 3 o'clock kickoff. I mean, wow. that's top of our league, top of the bottom half. But yeah, one word answer, Fordy. Is Matty Longstaff staying or going?
Going. going.
Yeah,
But
Kyle,
I mean, why would you stay? Why would you stay if you can't even get ahead of a player that doesn't play in your position? What level of disrespect is that? A player that does not play in your position is getting ahead of you. He's had a shocker all season. All season. I struggle to remember a good Fabian Schär game this season. I'm sorry, but if you guys can remind me, feel free to jump in. But
Watford
if a
at
guy's
home.
getting ahead of you,
That one.
Watford at home.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
scored.
he scored.
Okay, maybe one game. I can't remember, but apparently he had a good game there. What I'm just saying is that if he's struggling, if he can't get ahead of you, then what's going on? Like at your boyhood club as well. Something's going on there because Mike Ashley's pulling strings or something and saying, look, he's not playing until he signs a contract. That's what it seems like to me. Because again, today would be an ample opportunity to put him in. No Hayden, the other long staff's not there. So why not put him in? You bring on Nabil Bentaleb. Sorry, bro. I can't look. I know you're struggling as well. Why is Bentaleb putting on a Newcastle shirt? I know I said last time.
He's one.
And technically, he got out of it. Technically, he got out of it because he didn't put on a black and white shirt. He put an orange shirt on. So again, technically, he's did all right. Well, he didn't do all right, but he didn't put a black and white shirt. Anyway, sorry, bro. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bentaleb, I mean, we were stood outside the Emirates 40 and I said then, I don't know why he's here and what is his purpose. But, and my opinion has just got reinforced every week since, I mean, bar 45 minutes at Bournemouth, but hey ho. Kyle, was there a plan B today?
Nope. You can tell by the substitutions it was a case of just chuck shit at a wall and see what sticks, mate, to be honest. He takes Gayle off, he puts Kraft on. I don't know what formation we ended with. It seems so bizarre. Just there's no plan B. Like if we're 4-2-3-1 doesn't work, our plan B's go 5 at the back. So like there's no attacking plan B, and yeah, it shows, man. When we get done over, there's no way back into a game. We very rarely get back into a game these days.
Yeah, very true.
You're right,
I
Carl.
never want to see never want to see Fabian Schär in the centre of midfield ever again. The only positive he had today was the fact that he's had a haircut similar to, well, he's left it a bit longer than yours, Kyle, but, you know, it's a positive nonetheless. 40, Steve Bruce's squad management is something that I keep having to bring up because it consistently narks me. We've seen Almiron and ASM play 90 minutes again today. Bruce hasn't used all of his subs. Players out of position. What is the guy thinking?
Your guess is as good as mine, man. Sol made a good point on my stream about Danny Rowe's situation. Now, again, sorry to harp back onto it. Danny Rose is an experienced left back. You're then moving an inexperienced, well, not inexperienced, but someone who can't really play left back, and it's been proven to left back in place of him. Now, Rose, bearing in mind, can't play in the next game because lo and behold, we're playing against Tottenham Hotspur. So again, wouldn't it have made sense to play Danny Rose, who's experienced, plays left back at left back when he can't play the next game? Do you know what I mean? He already can't play the next game, so play him there. So just little things like that. The Matty Longstaff situation is probably above his head, but it still baffles me to this day. You know, you're bringing on Joe Linton. I don't know. I'm sure Bruce must be getting a cut of that. I'm sure every time he must be sipping him a five every single time that Joe Linton comes on the pitch. I don't know why he keeps bringing him on. Carl, you're laughing, but why? I reckon Joe sorts him around the bike shed like, hey, here's 20 quid, mate. Cheers for chucking him on. I can't see it. Why are you chucking him on every single time? He must have some... Listen, if we don't laugh, we're going to cry. Seriously. It's one of those.
That's what it is, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, some clubs could only dream about, you know, bringing on a £40 million number 9 to change the game and win it, but not us. Something's gone wrong somewhere. Something's gone drastically wrong. Finally, Fordy, I'll let you go in on Federico Fernandez. today. Bit of an uncharacteristic poor performance from him. Is he just tired? Does he need a rest? He's played every minute of every game so far. What went wrong for Feddy today?
To be honest, I don't really want to go on Feddy because he's one of the ones that have actually looked half decent this season. Yeah, he's had an off game, but you pretty much summarised it there, mate. He's played every game this season. He's pretty much had to kind of hold Lascelles' hand, I think, like for a lot of the games. Yes, Lascelles has got the pace and the power and the rest of it, but in terms of reading the game, I think Fernandez is the one that's kind of leading in that sort of side of the partnership. So I'm looking to elsewhere before I start pointing the finger at him. Yeah, he had a bit of a shocker, but you could say that about pretty much everyone today, barring probably Gayle. And Gale's probably thinking to himself, what have I got to do to play a full 90 minutes here? I've scored, do you know what I mean? I've looked the most attacking threat, and that's combined with Almiron and ASM, who looked off the ball today. But yet he's not playing a full 90 minutes. So Fernandez is the least of our worries. He's definitely been like probably is like player of the season, I reckon, or one of them, a contender. But yeah, look elsewhere for shots fired.
You seen that? That's what Steve Bruce said about Shea in the first half, and it worked. No, mate. No, sorry, it didn't work. I'll let 40 have a read of it, and then we'll react, and then I'll 40 be able to go wherever. But
what game is he watching, Kyle? What game is he watching? Because I must be seeing something different on my stream to what he's seeing. Honest to God, because I did not see maybe one completed pass from shared crossfield, and that was about it. But we've got someone else in the midfield who can do that. Literally, we've got the person who can do that next to you, Shelby. Let him do that. So I don't know what game he's watching. Have you not checked your bench? Yeah. Bring on Youngbuck. Bring on Matty Longstaff, man. I don't understand.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, Matty's tenacity should more than compromise for Share's physicality if Bruce wants to use that. Final one from you, Mr. Ford. Final one, because we could we're not arguing, we're agreeing. We could rant about Matty Longstaff all afternoon. Wednesday night at Spurs, what's going to happen?
Who's that, to me or Kyle?
You.
To me, okay. Apparently, we're quite successful against Spurs. I mean, obviously we beat them earlier this season, but I think we're going to get dicked on, mate. I think we're going to actually get dicked on. Marino's got a point to prove. Do you know what I mean? He still can't win at St James's Park, but I think that hood is going to come to an end someday. And now's the perfect opportunity to play us. Do you know what I mean? Got dicked on against Man City. You know, we're lucky to get a point against West Ham. Today was a shambles. So now's the perfect time for anyone to play us. I would even fancy Norwich against us, and they've gone down. Do you know what I mean? We can't organise anything.
They've already got 4 points off this season. They can't have any more.
That's the crazy thing. You guys went to the game as well, flipping. I feel sorry for you lot. But I just don't think we can organise anything. We can go 1-0 up, we can go 2-0 up, and we'll still give the game away. So I don't know. Just in-game tactics need to be worked on. Playing players, again, I'm going to say it again, playing players in their correct position. I know it's like basic level 1 course, coaching course stuff, but somehow we can't manage to do it. I don't understand it. And this is the guy that's got more points than Rafa. Yeah, we get a trophy for that.
Fordy, always a pleasure, never a chore. We'll no doubt speak to you again soon. Cheers, mate.
See you later, mate.
Right, that was Fordy who was going in on Share. So you know what happens when Fordy slags a player off. They always come back. So get your money on Fabian Share for first goal scorer on Wednesday night. Time for 2 more guests. So we'll have Proudlock followed by Luke, and then that'll be a wrap up until we're back 15 minutes after we go off air on the Fan Reaction Show for Scoring the Players, which I think will be me and Kyle again. You lucky people. So let's welcome on Mr. Proudlock. Here he is.
Hello.
How are you doing, Proudlock?
Yeah, I'm good, but
right,
bollocks again, man.
Yeah, you don't sound good. From you sound like the rest of us feel. I think after that second half, we were all over the place at the back for the majority of the second half. What was going on? Try to summarise and try and guess what.
Try to defend a 1-0 lead rather than take advantage of it. That's for sure. And then what happens? We end up paying the price for it a lot of the time.
Yeah, you can say that again, Kyle. Kyle, I mean, it's hard because we've still got so many injuries. Our two favourite centre backs, yours is Clark, mine's Lejeune, out for the season. Right back's an area for concern. What can Steve Bruce theoretically do other than keep it more or less the same as what he's got now?
It's a difficult one because do you change it up again? I mean, how many times we'll try to change it up this season and it hasn't really worked? Because I remember we went to Leicester, we went 4-4-2 away from home, and that was mental. We went back to the wing back system with what Rafa kind of had, and then we went to the 4-2-3-1. We had a bit of success with that, and I think we'll play okay football with that. But when we're under the cosh a little bit with this formation, 4-2-3-1. There's no plan B. We don't follow up with something else, and I think it's cost us 6 or 7 points since the restart. The draw at Villa, we had no plan B for it. West Ham, we had no plan B again, and then today we didn't have a plan B and we got beat. So there's 9 points right there. But obviously we picked up 2 draws, so 7. I was right. It's we just need a plan B. I think the 4-2-3-1's a solid formation to go off. But if it doesn't work out, you need that extra idea, and I just don't think we'll have that right now. I mean, what could you potentially go with? A 4-4-2? Maybe so. You could do. Do we have enough centre forwards to do that? Probably not. Give Mutu a nod. Tom Allen. Just have that plan B ready, man. Because we've just been so when we've been off the boiling games, we'll just lack that idea, and I think that could be the difference between being a 13th or 14th to maybe being a 9th or even 10th, because the opportunity's there. I think it's possible by now, considering we've got Tottenham and Liverpool still to play. But yeah, it's just having that plan B.
I mean, one solution, Proudlock, could have been Cher playing in his actual preferred position of centre back and maybe taking out Fernandes, who's
I
played
think
every
I
minute.
can tell Fernandes. I think it's a type 3 he needs a break now. The next game he's been working his balls off the previous games, but it wasn't his great game the day. But I think it's time for a rest for Fernandes for sure.
Can Cher play in a back 4?
Yeah, I would say he can.
Kyle,
he's preferred natural set
or does he look better in the back 5 where he can have a bit more freedom and spray some passes around?
He looks better in a back 5. However, when we play a back 5, we're so deep. The type of player Cher is, he kind of pick out a pass because nobody's far up the field for him to catch the pass. But it's a difficult one playing him in a back 4 because whenever we've played him in a back 4, he's looked suspect defensively. But is it worth that risk? Because I think Fernandes, off the last 2 games, is showing he clearly needs a game off. He deserves it. He's been hitty missy, but he's getting worse as the games are going on because he's tired after 60 minutes, and it's because of all these games coming in. He needs a game off. So if he's the only one, then play Cher. But then again, you look at the likes of Kellen Watts, who sink or swim for players like him. A big chance for him. He's been good out with Stevenage. Is he ready for the step up? Who knows? I mean, you're not going to get many games where a Premier League game for us doesn't really matter. It's just like we're going through the motions till the end of the season. Chuck these young lads at the deep end and see what they can do. We've got Dwight Gayle, who's having a good surge of form. Well, we've got strikers that can't score goals. Mutu can't get in. Why not give Tom Allen a chance and people like that? Like give the young lads a chance, but it's more about Kellen Watts here. If Ferry looks unfit and needs time off, and you're not willing to risk Fabian Cher, give Kellen Watts a chance, see what he can do. Because it with how many centre backs we actually have, chances like it's for someone like Kellen Watts is few and far between. So give him a chance to see what he can do. That's me, like.
Yeah, for sure. Peter, we're pushed for time, so 2 more quick questions about Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're playing Spurs. We beat them earlier in the season playing 5 at the back. Do you go back to 5 at the back for Spurs at home, or do you stick with the 4? And how do you think the game's going to go down?
Still stick with a 4. I've completely wiped my hands with the wing-back system now because about negative it's been the previous games when we've used this formation, and we've been losing points left, right, and centre when using this formation. So now I wouldn't use the wing back system anymore. I'd stick with 4.
Scoreline for us?
I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. Right, that was Peter Proudlock. Thank you for coming on.
Well
And
done.
do check out his channel on YouTube, PD Proudlock, as we welcome our final guest onto the Fan Reaction Show, Luke. Luke,
Hey, guys.
good afternoon, mate.
Alright.
Sum up that shocking second half display.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing. I thought we were positive in the first half. I thought going forward, Gayle looked quite impressive. And so did ASM. But then the second half, I mean, it turned like the two penalties. I mean, the first one's a bit. It could probably give it either way. There is contact there, though, I guess. And then the second one, well, Mankea, I'm a big rat for Mankea, especially at right back, but then left back, I don't know why he was there, to be perfectly honest with you. And then the two goals, I was literally sitting here and I'm thinking Troy Deeney only goes down the middle, and Dubravka moved the same side both penalties. And I mean, the second one is literally a few centimetres from the ball, and I thought, well, what can you do, really?
Yeah, what can you do? What do you make of Steve Bruce today? Because there was, like we've touched on before, there was no plan B. Some of his substitutes were a bit questionable. No Matty Longstaff. What's your thoughts on how Bruce is handling his squad and his competency in general today?
I think we give him a bit of stick. I think he's been reasonably good this season, consistently enough. I mean, he's no Rafa Benitez, to be perfectly honest with you, but he today he was. You said earlier he leaves his substitutions way too late in the game. I mean, for a substitute's point is to make an impact on the game. How are they going to make an impact on the game? You look at Valentina Lazaro. He's coming on with what? 5 minutes remaining in the game, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
So I thought against City, he was one of our better players. And you look at him, he comes on today and he got no time to make an impact. And I just thought, as Liverpool score, I just thought that Bruce just needs to get that part of his game plan right, as in, I reckon in terms of the squad of our formation today, besides from Fabian Schär being in holding midfield, which is it's something you do in FIFA. I reckon it's just not something you do in real life. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, Federico's played every minute since the restart, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, he's probably, besides from the City game and today, he's probably been our best defender and one of our better players this season. I think he just needed a break. I mean, he's not a young player anymore. He probably needed that break, and Fabian is an automatic replacement for him. You bring Matty into the midfield, and there's basically, I reckon, a very solid team. And I just didn't think Steve got that right today, and I just thought the substitutions as well toppled onto that, and especially bringing off Gayle, and bringing Kraft on just doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with anything you've just said there, really. It sums up quite nicely. I'm wondering, because you've got an accent, the lights on and the curtains are closed. One, where are you speaking from? And two, what time is it?
It is currently 1 o'clock in the morning in Australia.
Christ.
Yeah.
That is mental. What are you doing? Go to bed, man.
Yeah, I know. I probably should. And this is the problem. I wake up every Saturday or every Wednesday morning. It is for the midweek games, or Sunday night, depending on what time the game starts. And I'm pretty consistent with waking up. But watching today's display, I was pretty appalled in the second half.
Yeah, it wasn't a second half to stay up for, was it, Kyle? Would you be staying up at 1 a.m. to watch a game like that?
Dedicated, yeah, you've got to give the lad props. Dedication, 1 o'clock in the morning and he's talking to us. I mean, fair play to you, but I mean, Christ, if I was getting up, staying up until 1s and 2s in the morning to watch that, I'd be a lot more rattier than I am now, that's for sure. But fair play to your dedication, like, for sure.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah, fair play, Luke. And that's quite a nice note to finish on. Although, Luke, I will get your prediction for Wednesday. And will you be getting up early to watch Newcastle Spurs?
I will be. I will be again. It's a bit crazy, but I will be. I'd like to see us shy away from what we played against Manchester City. I don't like seeing the team sheet come out and seeing a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1 that shifts back into a 5. I don't like really seeing that. So I think we really need to be positive, especially against Mourinho, who's we know how defensive he can be, and we know reasonably on their day how Tottenham could be and can be reasonably solid at the back. And I just think we need to just bring the game to them, basically hit them straight from the start.
Absolutely. Well, Luke, thank you very much for coming on, top man, and we'll hopefully see you on NFTV again soon. Cheers, mate.
Sure will.
See you,
boys.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That was Luke in Australia giving an international flavour there for the fan reaction show, and that's where we leave it. My thanks to you, Kyle. Have you enjoyed your debut on the fan reaction show?
Is it better on a win? Is it? Because
to be honest, I don't know. Every time I've presented, this is the 4th time I've presented now, we've either drawn or lost. So ask Rob, as he's presented the 2 games where we've won. So I don't know.
It's difficult. Like, I'm not going to lie. Just because you feel so deflated straight after the whistle and that. So I've enjoyed speaking to people and interacting with people, especially James. With a unique opinion on the goalkeeper, but well, it's been good, but obviously in the grand scheme of things, with a defeat, it's not always the best. But I've enjoyed everybody's company, and we'll crack on with scoring the players in about 15 minutes time, 20 minutes.
We certainly will. Myself and Kyle will be back in about 15 minutes time for scoring the players. Then Lee is here with the opposition view, which I'm sure they'll be very happy that they've more or less secured their Premier League status for another year. And then Lee will be back for the last word along with Owen. So my thanks to Kyle, my thanks to everyone who's got involved on the live stream this afternoon, and my thanks to you at home or wherever you may be watching. Stay tuned to NFTV, and we'll be back again with you very shortly.